Hello, you guys, and welcome back to Mystical Visions. So, earlier this week, last weekend, I got the Pocket Archetypes, the Wild Unknown Pocket Archetypes deck, and it has been insanely powerful so far. And so today's reading is inspired by it. So today we're going to take a look at some shadow work that you might be working through at the moment. We're going to take a look at the archetype that you are identifying with right now, and some explanations as to why you might be in that energy, as well as an archetype that you are being called to embody in the future, and some explanations as to why that might be helpful for you. And then we'll take a look at some oracle cards to look at how you can bridge the gap between the two energies from where you are today and all the way to where you want to be in order to evolve on your journey. So, as always, I've gone ahead and pre-shuffled your decks. For pile 1, we've got this garnet stone. For pile 2, we have a blue sodalite crystal. And for pile number 3, we have a jade. As always, timestamps are in the description. I will give you guys some time to sit with the cards, see which one calls to you intuitively. If you enjoy this reading and it resonates for you, please remember to like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. It really helps the channel out a lot. There's a tip jar in the description. If you enjoy my work and would like to support me, that's a great way to do it. And without much further ado, I'll give you some time to go ahead and pick your pile, and I'll see you at your reading. Pile number 1, hello. So if you picked this garnet stone, then this is your reading about some shadow work you might be going through. More specifically, looking at an energy archetype that you might be embodying right now, versus which one you're being called to embody and how you can get there. So I have gone ahead and pre-shuffled the cards, and there is an actual format today, which is great. So this is going to tell us the energy you are in currently, this card over here, and these tarot cards will explain it further, and you could very well use this side as confirmation for whether this reading is for you or not. If this doesn't resonate at all, then you might want to pick a different pile. If it sort of partly resonates but not quite, there might be information here about your current situation that you may not have realized yet, because that's the joys of shadow work. Most of the times we don't even really know what's going on. This side we'll look at next. This is the archetype that you're being called to embody by the universe, your spirit guides, higher self, whatever you believe in. And these tarot cards here will give us a little more insight into that situation. And then finally, with these 2 oracle cards, we'll take a look at how you might bridge the gap between these 2 energies. So these are really going to be advice cards. So before we dive in for pile 1 specifically, I want to say when I was shuffling the first side, the energy was quite chaotic. And then when I was shuffling this side, the energy was quite calm. So already I'm getting a feel for you guys. If you're in a fairly chaotic energy right now, you have come to the right place. So what archetype are you embodying right now? I'm not reading reversals for this deck. Oh, the bridge. Interesting. So that is number 38. Let's take a look at what the bridge has to say. The bridge, the connection, the link, the gate. Bridges are built to connect 2 worlds. They create flow, allowing us to travel between realms, ideologies, personalities. This archetype is the gesture of acceptance, of saying yes rather than withdrawing, separating, and saying no. When we cross a bridge to an unknown land, we are led magically into a new reality. The shaman, for example, creates the bridge between the everyday world and the sacred. Remember that a bridge can't be forced. It must be made with love, or its structure will not withstand the inevitable weather of life. Acceptance, magic, communication. So, with this energy that you are currently in, you might be in a process of waking up to your magical potential right now, Power One. You might be going through some very strong spiritual awakenings. You might be going through some spiritual upgrades, and because of this, you might find random insights coming your way out of nowhere. And also, you might find that you're sleeping more or sleeping less, depending on whether you're in energy conservation mode or anxiety mode. You might find that your food habits are a little all over the place. You might find that your usual schedules are being disrupted by very human, very basic needs. And that is perfectly normal, especially when it comes to a spiritual awakening. But let's see some clarifiers. We have strength, and that is clarified by the Two of Wands in reverse. Yeah, I think right now you are very much being called to embrace rest and rebuilding your physical body. The Strength card usually talks about being gentle in the face of fear and being calm and confident in the face of chaos. And that might be an energy you want to, or you might find yourself embodying right now. With the Two of Wands in reverse, that's the idea of being very much in the present moment, as opposed to spending all your time fantasizing about the future or, reminiscing on the past. Right now, it feels like you're an energy of just putting out the fires that are directly in front of you. And it might require an immense amount of strength, of just energy in general, be it physically, mentally, emotionally. You might find yourself wanting to recuperate, to relax a little bit. And it might be freaking you out a little just how tired you feel these days. I only laugh because I know that feeling all too well, especially today. I've spent all day today sleeping and reading, so you get it. I get it. But right now, you might be in the energy of just wanting to be on power saving mode, really. And we have the Two of Cups. Ooh, okay. And to clarify that, we have the Five of Pentacles. Okay, that's interesting. So the Two of Cups talks about partnerships, soulmates, a relationship, usually romantic, that is put in your path, or that your higher self chose to experience in order to feel mutual growth. But then you have that clarified by the Five of Pentacles, which is the energy of being left out, being forgotten, being left out in the cold, all alone by yourself. What I'm primarily seeing here, Power One, is the energy of duality and the idea of sort of bridging the gap between the two, where you might be, okay, sorry, I just had to take it all in. So you might be in a place right now where you need someone to step in and nourish you. You might be used to being the nurturer in most of your connections, especially in your love connection, if you have one at the moment. And if you don't, you might be craving that. But there is also an energy of being left out, an energy of solitude, of being forgotten, abandoned, that sort of thing. Oh, okay. So an idea just came to me. This could very well be you feeling like the universe has abandoned you. You're feeling isolated, as if there is no magic in the world. There is no manifestation. There is no esoteric. It is all just the 3D world, and that's all there is. And we all cycle through these feelings now and again, and it is completely normal to go through phases where you feel disconnected from the divine. And that's usually because there's almost like a new code being upgraded into your psyche. I don't know. So you know how when, okay, you've probably all felt this at some point or experienced this. You know how when there's a Windows upgrade and it takes ages, but you can't turn off your computer, you can't restart your computer, and you can't use your computer while the upgrade is going on? It's just an example, but spiritual upgrades can be quite like that, where you feel like you cannot really use your spiritual powers, you cannot use your consciousness or meditation or anything because you're going through a spiritual upgrade. I like that analogy. I might keep it in my pocket for later. But it feels like that might be the energy you're going through, where you are being so drawn to almost be stuck in the present moment, which may not be something you're very comfortable with. You're having to be so strong. You usually feel such like a deep, powerful connection to the universe, but as of late you've been feeling abandoned and lost and sort of questioning everything, and that's where that bridge energy comes in, because at the very core of it, this bridge isn't physical yet. It is light forms, it is abstract, it is energetic, it is a leap of faith, essentially. And so the energy that you're currently in is, you might feel like there is more out there, but you're not seeing it in your life quite yet. And as a result, it's quite frustrating. So right now you're in the energy of, how do I bridge this gap? Plain and simple. So now that we understand that, if that resonates for you, let's take a look at what energy you're being called to embody. Though in this case, I feel like what energy you're about to embody once this spiritual upgrade process is done. We have the thread. Do you see the rainbows here? Beautiful. There's a lot of like black with rainbow colors, and these cards are very, very far away in the series, so it's not like they are one after the other. So that is not intentional. So this is number 70, the thread. Let's see. Okay. The path, the vein, the circuit. Life is a tangle. So much happens simultaneously and circuitously. I never know how to say that word. Leaving us grappling for meaning and direction in a network of distractions. When we connect to the energy of the thread, however, we strike the deepest vein in our body. Our whole being responds to its tug. Meaning is pumped through our bloodstream. No matter how confusing and multi-layered our modern lives become, if we are connected to the thread, we are free. Being tethered to it is the only anchor our heart requires. The circuit of meaning within chaos. What did I say? This time was so chaotic. So, with the thread, you are stepping into an energy of finding meaning again, which is wonderful, because I feel like that might be the big issue that you're dealing with at the moment, where nothing makes sense, nothing seems to connect with each other, and you don't quite understand how your entire belief, your entire faith system seems to have disappeared overnight. Whereas with the thread here, you're stepping into an energy of understanding how things get put back together. It's like weaving through all these different experiences that you have. There's just like a single thread that connects them all, and you're finally at the point where you can find that thread again, right? so you can unravel the mysteries of your life. But let's take a look at some clarifiers. I think you got an extra one. So we have the King of Coins. Beautiful. And that is clarified by the Ace of Cups. Yeah, I definitely see if you're looking for like a romantic relationship, you might be finding either stability in your present one or a new romance coming your way that is quite reliable, that you can really trust and build on. Because the King of Coins is not someone who messes around. The King of Coins is a permanent, stable figure in your life. So the love that's coming your way, if that's what you're seeking, is quite long term. And if you're just seeking to reconnect with the universe, you'll find that there is a new emotional beginning in that aspect coming your way as well. So that is wonderful news, pile one. Next we have Death. Don't freak out, this is a good thing. And to clarify that, we actually got two clarifiers because I do feel you might be freaking out. We have the Six of Pentacles in reverse. And we have the Seven of Cups also in reverse. All right. So, the energy that you are stepping into, this thread energy, is starting to make sense to me, because not only are you finding a reconnection with spirit, with the universe, you're also putting an end to a cycle where you felt like you did not have the upper hand, where you were caught in the illusion of lack. Because here with this Five of Pentacles, that is that lack energy, that abandonment, financial insecurity, and and usually after that you have the Six of Pentacles, which talks about generosity, of someone coming into your life to give to you. However, we have that in reverse here, and that to me is in this context, especially with the King of Coins as well, that tells me that you're stepping into an energy where you are the source. You are the one providing for people. You are the one creating that abundance that you share. You don't have someone who's coming into your life to give you that abundance. You become the source of it. And perhaps that's the ending you're going through right now. That's the cycle you're ending, because the Death card usually signifies an ending which leads to a new beginning. And it could very well be a new emotional beginning, a new connection with the universe, a new connection with a partner. But in either case, the Seven of Cups upright usually talks about the illusion, the Maya of this world, things that seem so real but they're not. So have that in reverse, clarifying death, tells me that you are cutting through that illusion. You're stepping so far away from this energy of being so caught in the physical world that you forget who you are. You're stepping so far into this energy of not only stepping away from the illusion, but realizing that you are bigger than it. You are way more powerful than this illusion. You have agency in this situation, in any situation that you step into. You have the power to change the very fabric of life to suit you, to suit your universe, your life. It's a very abundant energy, part one, and it's beautiful. And the reason you are not feeling it yet is because your soul, your subconscious, is going through a massive level up that will bring you in alignment with this energy, so that when these opportunities come your way to create a lot of abundance, to create a lot of love, you have the equipment it requires to sustain that upgrade. I hope that makes sense, but it's beautiful energy. So finally, let's take a look at how you might be able to bridge that gap, or if you're already on the way to bridging that gap, how you might speed the process along. We have Star Mother. How can you mother yourself? Yeah, right now you are definitely being called to nurture Nurture yourself. Take care of your body. Take care of your mind. Take care of your health. If there are any sort of checkups that you've been putting off, definitely do it. If you've been considering improving your diet, improving your exercise regimen, just improving your skincare, hair care, this is a time for nourishment. This is the time for nurturing. Because right now, you have an opportunity in this limbo where you are not expected to do anything before your life picks back up. This is a wonderful time for you to take care of all the little things that you've been putting off, particularly when it comes to self-care. You are being called to mother yourself. Okay, so this is a very specific message. It might not apply to all of you. It might not apply to most of you. But I feel like if you have a relationship in your life that leaves you feeling abandoned and drained and uncared for, you might be being called to give yourself that nourishment that you wish this person would give you. This doesn't just have to be a romantic relationship. It could be a relationship with a sibling, a friend, potentially even a parent, potentially even a maternal figure. The nourishment that you are not receiving from the person that is meant to give you nourishment, you're being called to give to yourself. Because it might be that you are expecting something of someone that doesn't have the capability to give you that. And as a result, you're both going to end up disappointed with the relationship. But more specifically, because you're in a phase where things are a little more tender, a little more susceptible to hurt, it's a very delicate phase in your life. You're definitely being called to turn all of that energy inwards. Give yourself the things that people are not able to give you. Give yourself the nourishment that you don't get from the world around you. You're definitely being called to mother yourself, nourish yourself, nurture yourself. And we have don't dim to fit in. How are you dimming your light in order to fit in? So, how can you speed up this process of alignment with this energy? Where in your life have you been avoiding taking the spotlight? Because this energy, the King of Cups and the King of Coins and the Ace of Cups, is not the most out there flashy energy, but it is a commanding position. This is someone who knows their worth and will go out of their way to preserve it, to share it, to maintain it. That's the word I'm looking for. And in order to do that, they need to understand unequivocally exactly what they deserve, exactly who they are, and how they fit into their surroundings, what they bring to the table. And they cannot do that if they're dimming their light to fit in, which might be a tendency you have that you haven't even noticed about yourself. You might be the kind of person that feels safe when there aren't any eyes on you, because then if you make mistakes, no one really saw. But you're being called to embody the idea of courage, of being more visible, of being seen for your good and your bad. And in order to be comfortable with that, you need to first be comfortable seeing yourself for all that you are, the good and the bad. So part of the journey for you part of the advice for you right now is to nurture yourself and also to really see yourself, because everyone here has their eyes closed except for this one all-seeing eye that sees everything. The imagery in these decks isn't accidental. It is very carefully chosen, and in this specific card, in this specific context even, I'm definitely seeing the idea of you seeing all of yourself and accepting all of yourself, no holds barred, unconditionally, completely, and irrevocably. I sound like Twilight. But yeah. You want to get to a stage where nothing anyone ever says about you can define you the way you define you. That is how you embody this king and ace energy. That is how you end the old cycle and find connection again. That is how you take control of the thread that weaves the fabric of your life and tell it where to go next. You're going through a powerful upgrade right now, Power 1. So be gentle with yourself. Allow yourself to work through the cycles that you're working through. And also understand that this feeling of disconnection right now, the feeling of needing to be so very strong, is very much temporary. And all you need to focus on right now is your inner world, taking care of it, upgrading your self-belief, working on self-love, and everything else will fall into place for you. All right, so that's your reading for today, Pile 1. I really hope it resonated. This was way more interesting than I thought it would be, so I'm really enjoying this format. But yeah, I hope it brought you some clarity and support. And if it did, please do remember to like and comment, subscribe to my channel for more readings. Thank you so much for being here and sharing your time and energy with me and letting me read this for you. I really do hope it helped. You can stick around to the outro for another reading on my channel, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye. Pile number 2, hello. So if you guys picked this blue sodalite crystal, then this is your shadow work reading. Today we're going to take a look at what energies, what energetic archetype you are embodying today, what you are being called to embody moving forward, and how you may bridge the gap between the two energy types. So I've gone ahead and shuffled out your cards. This is going to give us your current archetype, and these tarot cards will give us some clarity about it. This card will give us the archetype that you are either headed towards or you're being called to head towards. Again, these tarot cards will give us an explanation and details and all of that. And then these two oracle cards will give us ideas on how you may bridge the gap. So essentially, advice cards. All right? So your energy feels a little spaced out, I'm not going to lie to you, so bear with me while I try to ground this. I'm also not reading reversals for these two oracle cards. So first we have the Destroyer. This is the energy you are currently being perceived as. And also feel free to take this first section of the reading as confirmation as to whether this is your reading. So that's number 23. If you resonate with the Hindu god Shiva, then this might be confirmation that you're working with the right guy. The Destroyer, the savage, the unexpected, the rejected. The Destroyer, the final of the 3 archetypes in the trio of existence, has necessary yet painful work to do in the world. Culturally, we have an aversion to endings, and we hang on to permanence as a signifier of success. Yet, the Destroyer pulls the rug out from underneath relationships, jobs, homes, and all forms of security. It is the part of us that wants things to end. Hold on for the ride. The Destroyer has arrived. Swift and precise blows that redirect our life. So, for those of you who have been around the tarot before, this very much feels a little bit like tower energy, but not quite as fickle, I want to say. Not that the Tower energy is fickle, but to me, the energy of this card feels like very calculated destruction, very purposeful destruction. So you might be in a phase in your life right now where things are falling apart a little bit, things are being taken away from you, people and situations are leaving your life. And on the surface, it might feel like there is no real reason for it. There is no real explanation as to why all of a sudden everything is going everywhere. But this is calculated chaos. I just want to put that out there. It feels like for a lot of you, this might feel meaningless and therefore like a curse or like negativity and all of that. But before we even dive into any of the other cards, I need you to understand that what I'm hearing is this is for you. This is premeditated. This was decided by your higher self in tandem with your spirit guides, the universe, all of that. This is very much a calculated part of your journey. Okay, so with that in mind, let's take a look at your tarot cards. The first card we have is the Four of Swords. I am not surprised. And that is clarified by two cards. We have the World in reverse and the Ace of Wands in reverse. Yeah, it's no wonder. Your current energy is one of rest, but not necessarily rest in the sense of, oh, I'm going to have a spa day, but more in the sense of literally cannot function. You might have a sudden injury that's come your way, a sudden illness, something that's forcing you into bed. Even though you want to go out there and do stuff, your body is being forced to rest. You might also find this translates into things like chronic fatigue. I'm not trying to diagnose anyone, but with the Ace of Wands in reverse, it almost feels like there is no drive, there is no motivation to do anything. And with the World in reverse, it might feel like while your inner world is falling apart, so is your outer world. And it is frustrating, Paltu. I can understand why you're in such like a spaced out energy. You might be taking medication that makes you feel quite spacey. The crux of the matter is you feel like there is no control, because in both of these cards, do you see how these people are holding these wands? But both of them are in reverse. It's like one day you had your life completely under control and the next day it is just all over the place. And we have the Three of Coins clarified by the Chariot in reverse. Yeah, all the clarifiers are in reverse. It does feel like you don't have any real explanation as to why things are falling apart. With the Three of Coins, it feels like there might be some collaboration, some projects you might be trying to work on with other people. And then to clarify that with the Chariot in reverse, it kind of tells me that these things are just not moving forward. Ooh, let's focus, shall we? Thank you. These things are not moving forward at a pace that you would like them to, and it is very frustrating because, again, you're being forced into an energy of stasis, of doing nothing. And that can be very frustrating, Paltu. But of course, you don't need me to tell you that because you're feeling it right now. And I do sympathize. This has happened before to me, and it is very frustrating. But again, I want to reiterate, this is not a curse. It's not someone doing voodoo on you. It's not someone throwing dark magic your way. This is very much part of your process. The things that are being taken away from you are being taken away because they are taking up valuable space in your life that was meant for something better. And the universe can only bring you stuff if you create space for it. And you might be in an energy where you're holding on to people, situations, objects, places that just do not serve you anymore, but they are comfortable and familiar. And familiarity is one hell of a drug, let me tell you now. It will destroy your potential. And the universe does not want that. So rather than destroy your potential, the universe would destroy your attachments. Because with the destroyer I don't know if you guys know Hindu mythology, but Shiva, the deity of destruction, is known to be almost like a paragon of non-attachment. He leaves all of society and lives on top of the mountains to avoid feeling a sense of emotional attachment to worldly things. Also the Buddha, if you've learned about Buddhism, very much a non-attachment type energy. And so the reason all of this is being taken away from you is to teach you a sense of non-attachment. And it can be very frustrating because why would I come into this world if I wanted to practice non-attachment to the physical world? But it's like, we've all got our journeys. And for the most part, we don't really see it until after we've experienced it. It's only in hindsight that we understand why things happened the way they did. I'm not being told details, and that to me says this is yours to discover, because otherwise I usually get messages like that. In this case, it's quite hush-hush, it's quite spaced out, it's quite abstract. But just understand that the delays that you might be facing in things like group projects, joint ventures, and all of that is very much planned and very much a good part of your journey, even though it might not feel that way right now. So, what energy are you being called to embody moving forward? We have the medallion. Beautiful. This is number 59. That was 23. 59. The medallion, the amulet, the talisman, the heirloom. The passing on of sacred objects is an ancient ritual within families, between lovers, and in tribes across the globe. We gift jewels, treasures, keepsakes, and mementos of all kinds, some of great material value, others that hold emotional resonance, and still others with both. Yet, when these gifts are bestowed upon us, it is important to recognize that they may bind us to an unspoken agreement or promise. When the medallion card appears, be aware of how the objects you hold dear may be embedded with unconscious energy or expectations. Is there an object you have held on to for years that you are ready to release? Perhaps it is time to reach for the medallion that aligns with your deepest values. Upholding tradition, protecting, honoring. Imagine if you and your family, school, or social group had a crest, emblem, or amulet. What would it be? Okay, again. Okay, wow. I'm a little blown away because this talks about holding on to only that which serves you. And releasing attachment. I swear I didn't look at these cards when I was shuffling. They all fell face down. This talks about releasing attachment to that which no longer serves you, but very much holding on to stuff that is important. And I think that's sort of a balanced energy where you may currently be swinging from being completely attached to a lot of your past to then being completely unattached with this destroyer energy. But what you want to keep in mind is to embody the balance of letting go of that which does not serve you, but also not throwing away or forcing yourself to throw away things that do serve you, that do nourish you, that are important for your journey. And it is all about balance, but let's take a look at some clarity. So to clarify the medallion, we have the King of Cups, and that is clarified by the Queen of Wands in reverse. What's interesting is, of all the court cards, I feel like these two energies might be the most diametrically opposed. First, because it's fire and water, it's king and queen, masculine, feminine. But the King of Cups is almost like the feminine aspect of the masculine, while the Queen of Wands is the masculine aspect of the feminine. And it is all about balance, because the Queen of Wands tends to be quite outspoken. She tends to follow exactly what her whims demand. She follows every whim is another way, a more succinct way of putting it. Whereas the King of Cups embodies emotional maturity. It's not that the King of Cups doesn't indulge his whims and fancies. It is that he knows where the line lies. He understands where it is worth putting his time and energy into indulging a fancy, and where it is just addiction, where it is just destructive habits. And you're being called to step into an energy where you transform from this relatively immature, in this context, Queen of Wands, to the relatively mature King of Cups, where you have your emotional sovereignty, where you are in control of how you feel. You do indulge yourself, but you don't overindulge. You might be working through, and I do apologize, my intention is not to trigger anyone, but the messages come through, so I have to say it. You might be working through addiction issues at the moment. Very specific, might not apply to most of you, might only apply to a tiny fraction of you, but it came through and I had to say it. And maybe the medallion here signifies your sobriety chip. That's wonderful. If that's your case and you're working actively to gain sobriety, just understand that I am so proud of you, and you deserve every bit of support that you can avail. Okay, there is help out there, and if you're getting it, that's wonderful. If you're not, I would say please seek it. Not an expert, I'm just saying from what I know. But in either case, there is a sort of healthy balance that is calling your name. Next, we have the Queen of Cups in reverse. We have two queens in reverse, clarified by the Three of Wands, also in reverse. Okay, the Queen of Cups is the only Cups card where the cup is covered. She is in the world, but not of it. She is surrounded by all these emotions, all this water. She understands that could affect her own cup of emotions, and that she could either receive from it or give to it. She covers it because she understands that she can decide if and when she wants to mix the waters, so to speak. To have that in reverse kind of tells me that you might want to step into an energy of not being quite so guarded with your emotions. Especially at home. It feels like with the Three of Wands in reverse, this to me usually talks about a safe space, about staying home, about not wandering off into the world, but rather of keeping things quite close to your chest. But it might be that one big change you're being called to bring into your life is to open up more. To open up more to the people that you trust. You might struggle with the idea of feeling like, oh, I'm a burden. Oh, if I share my issues, no one's going to listen. Or even if they listen, it'll be further burdening them with my issues. Like they've got lots to do. No. If these people are actively choosing to be in your life, to spend their time around you, it's because they want to be there for you. Understand that. And so the energy that you're being called to embody is to first take stock of who is in your life, who is truly available for a reciprocal relationship, and who simply takes from you. And once you've narrowed your circle down to only the reciprocal relationships, it might be time to start opening up to those who feel like home to you. It might be time to start expressing your innermost thoughts, your fears, your emotions, because you will find that there is so much comfort around you. There is so much emotional support around you. There are people out there who have the maturity to hold you and your emotions without muddying the water with their own perspectives. It might be quite shocking to you because maybe your entire friend group or your entire social network needs an overhaul. But when you do find these people, you're definitely being called to let your guard down a little bit. Especially if you're dealing with something so heavy, so difficult for one person to deal with, it might be time to get help. Didn't I say this before? Recruit people that you can trust. Because relationships are a two-way street. And for the most part, we say that in the context of don't be selfish and be there for other people. But today, I feel like a lot of people tend to swing the other way, where we overgive and have trouble receiving support. And let me tell you, it makes a world of a difference when you have people around you that are there to nurture you. The way that fosters your growth and development is insane. It is immense. And so when you are around the people that feel comforting, that feel nourishing, that feel nurturing, you're definitely being called to open up to them and allow them to hold space for you the way you would hold space for them if they were struggling the way that you are. Hold on to the stuff that matters, let go of the stuff that doesn't. But let's now take a look at how you might be able to bridge the gap between these two states of being. So, your first advice card is play. Have fun. Celebrate. Don't be so serious. Okay, one way in which the cards is quite self-explanatory. One energy that might help you bridge the gap is the energy of play. Play is so important, and we tend to minimize its worth in our social relationships, in our society, because as we grow older, the priority is always like, you have to be productive, you have to be useful, you have to be this and that, and you have to be serious and get your life together. We forget about play and its importance, because play isn't just about, gallivanting around and wasting your time. If you look at nature documentaries, and this is something I learned quite recently, and it's so beautiful. If you look at things like puppies and kittens and wolf pups and tiger cubs and all of that, bear cubs, every one of them is hardwired to play. Why? Not because evolution requires the energy of play in order to sustain life, but because play teaches us important life skills. It teaches us how to be calm under pressure. It teaches us how to work in a team, how to work with each other. It teaches us how to trust each other, how to bring levity into situations. It teaches us how to let go of the heavy energies in the moment so that we can focus purely on activity. These are all important life skills, and it is nourishing for your soul. It helps you bond with people in a way that nothing else can. And so you're very much being advised to embody the idea of playtime, be that board games, online games, or just hanging out, going to stand-up comedy shows, going to an arcade, amusement parks, gather a few friends, go out on a bike ride, whatever the optimal way of embodying the energy of play is, you're definitely being called to engage with, and engage with often. Because the idea of play also allows us to step away from swinging to the extremes of emotion and find a healthy middle ground. And I feel like that is what you're being called to embrace moving forward in order to find that stability, is to, instead of going from like lots of euphoria to lots of depression, to find that middle ground. Because think about playing a game. You're never always going to win and you're never always going to lose. You're always going to find a middle ground and learn so much by the process, through the process. Play might be more important in your life than you've given it credit, is all I'll say, Part 2. And we have the Age of Light. You've been training for this for lifetimes. This might very much, this change, this transformation, might be something that feels familiar because you've had it happen in previous lifetimes before, Part 2. Or what you are learning through this era of shadow work might supplement wisdom you've gathered over the last few lifetimes, and that will lead you to a much more evolved stage, if that makes sense. But whatever it is, like I said, this is very much, you've been training for lifetimes. So this is not an accident, or this is not like a random sense of doom and gloom. This is very much a calculated part of your process. I keep wanting to reiterate that. This is very much an important part of your process. And it will lead you to a sense of completion, fulfillment, balance, stability. So engage in play and trust the process. And that's your reading for today, Part 2. So I really do hope it brought you some clarity and support. Thank you so much for being here and sharing your energy with me, letting me do this reading for you. If it helped, please do remember to like and comment, subscribe to my channel for more readings. Stick around to the outro for another reading on my channel, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye. Pile number 3, hello. So if you picked this beautiful jade crystal, welcome to your shadow work reading. Today we're taking a look at an archetype that you are currently embodying versus an archetype that you're being called to embody, and how you might be able to get from point A to point B. So I've gone ahead and pre-shuffled your cards. This first archetype card will tell us where you are right now, and these tarot cards will give us some clarity on it. This card will tell us the energy that you're being called to embody. Yeah, and these cards will tell us, will offer us some clarity on that. And then finally, we'll take a look at these 2 oracle cards as sort of advice on how you might bridge the gap between the two. You can very much use this side as confirmation to see if this resonates with you, and if it doesn't, you might want to check out a different reading. And also, when I was shuffling your piles out, your cards wanted to come out in 3s. So you might be seeing a lot of 3s, a lot of 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 33, 33. You might be 33 years old. You might be born on the 3rd. That sort of thing. 3s might be quite important. Or quite significant right now. So without much further ado, what energy are you embodying right now? The stuff. What? Do you see that? That's 3. That's crazy. The Starborn. Ain't that a thing? So, oh, the dogs outside want to scream right now. I do apologize if you hear that. The Starborn, the divine child, the star child, the destined. An elusive yet radiant aspect of the self. The Starborn archetype points to the cosmic spark of light that arrives with each being at birth. The moment the newborn crowns, the royal stars above are said to constellate in a unique shape that maps our path in the world. When this card appears, travel back to your birth story for clues and insight. What did you desire when you were young? Practice seeing your life from a mythic point of view rather than a series of logistics. Read the story of the three fates and envision yourself born under the stars with a unique destiny. A light, trusting, vibrant, aimed. You guys might be doing some serious inner child work right now, pile 3. And you're pile 3. The threes are so real right now, that's wild. You might be surrounded by an insane number of synchronicities, by the way. I'm just going to say that. But it feels like you're really going back in time and looking at your childhood and sort of finding ways to embody the sort of desires to essentially give your inner child the stuff that no one else gave them. You're fulfilling all of those promises. You're answering all the questions that your inner child had. And you might be very much on an inner child healing journey, but let's have a look. We have the 7 of Coins in reverse. And that is clarified by the 8 of Wands in reverse. So, the 7 of Coins upright talks about investing, being patient. The 8 of Wands talks about fast movement. These are very opposing ideas. And they're both in reverse. It feels like you might be in an energy of not wanting to future plan, not wanting to run towards your future anymore, which you might have been in that energy in the past, and you've realized over time that that really doesn't serve you. It doesn't make you happy to constantly put away money for a rainy day, never indulge, save, invest. And you might be in an energy now. Wow, I can't speak. You might be in an energy now where you're like, I don't really care anymore. I've made all this money. It is for me to have fun with. I'm going to have fun. I'm going to indulge my desires. I'm going to seek pleasure. You might be enjoying the physical reality. You might be enjoying the things that the earth has to offer you. And you might be happy to linger here for a while, quite frankly. And we have the Sun also in reverse. And to clarify that, we have the 3 of Pentacles. The other thing is, you might not have believed in the idea of destiny, of seeds that are planted, of optimism, of the divine showing you the way. You might always have thought that who we are today is created by us and by the people around us. You may not have looked at life in a sort of esoteric, purpose-driven way. But right now, certain aspects of your life are sort of turning all of this on its head. And you're coming into the idea of maybe there's more to my reality than just what I create, just what I can engineer. A lot of the times when people are quite practical, personally, I'm not a fan of that word. I'm not a fan of the idea of being practical because it's boring as hell. But when people tend to label themselves as quite practical, it sort of shuts the door. It limits them to the realm of cause and effect, but all of it being in the physical world. Whereas a lot of the cause that leads to things happening in our physical reality stems in our subconscious, stems in our soul. And you might be at a point now where you're having a massive sort of epiphany though it hasn't quite formed yet, it feels like you're very much in the early stages of being about to have an epiphany, where the thoughts and beliefs that you invested in, the things that you thought made your life move forward, the things that you centered your entire life around are falling apart. And with the Three of Pentacles, this is almost seeming a little wild to me, because of course the 3 is the only upright card. Of course it is. But it almost feels like sort of the Holy Trinity coming together to bring you these epiphanies, the 3 fates. There's a very heavy emphasis on the 3, the Mother, Maiden, Crone, past, present, future, the Creator, Sustainer, Destroyer. There's a very heavy emphasis of trinities and triumvirates in your life right now. It's like so far you've only limited yourself to the visible aspects of life. But do you see how in this card, I didn't want to bend it, so I had to like drag it around. In this card, you see how the egg is only now starting to crack? I feel like that's the stage you're at right now, where you're sort of starting to see like things shift a little bit. You know, there's like a little bit of this divine intervention in your life and things are starting to shake up. You're not quite sure where this will lead you, but your entire belief system, because currently we live in a reality where we believe in a heliocentric model of space, where the sun is the center of our solar system. And it almost feels like that idea, the very star that you based your life around, is being upended. And that might be why you're facing a little bit of confusion. That's interesting. But also, I'm so happy. Like, I feel the sort of giddy joy of starting a new journey. Like, you know how when you're about to embark on a road trip and you've bought all these new clothes that you're going to wear on your travels, and you've bought all these snacks, and you've made a playlist, and you've got your map ready, you've got your survival gear, your tent, your bikes, all of that, all of the stuff you'll need for your journey, and you're like raring to go, you're like waiting in the car for someone to join in or whatever. That's the kind of feeling I'm getting, where it's like, it's new and scary and I've never done this before, but I'm also excited to see where this will lead me. I feel like that's the energy you're in right now. So I feel like the rest of this reading isn't going to be so much about what you should be doing, but what is waiting for you. But let's see the energy you're being called to embody. We have the heart. That's number 31, which adds to a 4. 31 could be a significant number, could be a birthday, could be an age. The heart. That's beautiful. You're definitely connecting more to your heart energy. And would you look at that? The jade crystal. Whoa. All right. I apologize for that, pile 3. I think we all got a little too excited. The jade crystal. That is the heart stone. That correlates to your heart chakra. Whoa, that was crazy. Okay, we need to ground a little bit, guys. We need to for a second, okay? So, number 31, that was wild. I don't like dropping crystals. It scares me a little bit. 31. Okay, there we go, the heart. The home, the center, the throne. It is possible from an imaginal point of view to sense the heart as a place. Either we are there within the realm of expansion and compassion, or we have drifted somewhere else. There is no in-between. It is common for us to leave this archetypal center without realizing it, as the world, with its seductive twists and turns, offers us frequent departure. The seat of the heart is often reclaimed by nature, music, dance, and the presence of children or animals. The most precious throne in the galaxy is awaiting your return. Expansive, knowing, gentle clarity. Some say there is a cave at the center of the heart. Others say it is a pool with flowering white lotus. Imagine yourself there and draw what you see. I might have to try that personally. But it does feel like you are being led all the way to your heart energy. And that is beautiful, pal 3. You want to know why it's so beautiful? Is because your heart center is pretty much the opposite of everything the world around you stands for at the moment. The world around you stands for structure and principle and dogma and the stuff that other people decided for you. Whereas the heart stands for originality, authenticity, curiosity, love, generosity, creativity. And this crack that you are experiencing, that might actually be the pathway that leads you into your heart center. Because if you look at this, this is a nest, right? This looks like almost like a wreath or a nest, and the heart is at the center. Where do eggs lie? In nests. It feels like you're cracking open into your heart space, pile 3. I'll be surprised if the cracked open card isn't here. That's a beautiful card, and it talks about stepping into your heart energy. Beautiful, but let's look at some clarity. So to clarify the heart, we have the Ace of Coins. Okay, I'm already getting a message. And the King of Cups. Beautiful. The King of Cups, I'm pretty sure his seat is in the heart. That's the seat of all love and emotional depth. But with the Ace of Coins and the King of Cups, what I'm getting here is you're building a new relationship with the earth, with your life on earth, with physical reality. It feels like every belief you had invested in the past is being upended, and you're rewriting the philosophies that you believe in. And this time you're doing it in a more heart-centric way. You're reimagining what it means to be a physical entity, what it means to be in the world, what it means to create change in society. And this time you're doing it from a place of, how can I find the most emotional depth, the most emotional stability and sovereignty, and how can I do it in a gentle, kind, and loving way? How can I make my mark on this world through love, through nurturing, through kindness, through warmth, through my heart? That's so beautiful. You're going through like an emotional transformation, and rather than being called to embody this, I feel like this is just where you're headed. This is like a look forward for you, pile 3, which was not my original intention with this reading, but sometimes the cards just want to take the reading where they go, and I'm all for it. I love a road trip. Next, we have the 8 of Coins, clarified by the King of Wands. You're gonna work hard, but you're gonna do it with passion. So the 8 of Coins, or the 8 of Pentacles, is the card of putting in the legwork, of hard labor, of working so hard to fulfill your duties. But to be clarified with the King of Wands, first of all, 2 King energies, love to see it. And both of these are quite emotional in modality, because the Wands, the suit of Wands, is all about fire, creativity, passion, And the driving force behind wands is always emotion, is always the heart. Or the solar plexus, which is again passion, creativity, the sacral, passion, creativity. You might be stepping into alignment with opportunities that help you be creative. You might be finding new creative skills and hobbies that really help you connect to your heart, to your inner child. Maybe your child self was quite creative and had that suppressed in favor of more practical skills. And now you're able to come back to it because you're able to tap back into your heart. Children, in my opinion, function primarily from their heart center because they don't know any better. Everything else, everything above and below the heart in terms of your 7 chakras have to do with the spiritual realm and the earthly realm respectively. The heart is where the two connect. And as I say that, my ears have gone weird. You might be clairaudient, Power 3. You might hear messages. I get this all the time when I'm on the cusp of waking up. I'll just hear a message spoken into my brain, into my ears. It genuinely sounds like someone is speaking. And more often than not, it's answers. So keep an eye out for that. That might be a power that might be breaking for you as you enter this mystical, magical realm. But yeah, anyway, it feels like your approach to life, to physical reality, and your approach to hard work is no longer driven by what is practical, what is expected of you, what will help you progress in this world, but rather it is driven from a place of heart and passion. And quite frankly, I feel like that is so self-explanatory because that is what the heart does. It helps you look at reality through the lens of balance, through the lens of love and excitement and just pure soul energy. So let's take a look at some advice on how you can bridge the gap between these two, which is inevitable, but this might help you speed it up. You have Unbound, releasing soul patterns, contracts, and past lives. Well, yeah, you're releasing old patterns of thinking and of viewing the world. And that is helping you step into the energy of working through your heart center. I mean, this programming that you've come from, that you're trying to work past, it could come from several lifetimes of very structured journeys where in previous lives before this one, in previous incarnations, you may have come from very structured upbringing. You may have lived a very structured life. Things like the clergy, the military, the industry, that kind of thing. Those tend to be quite structured, quite masculine areas. And to balance that energy out, you need to dive into the more feminine areas of abstraction and darkness and shadow work and emotion and love and the untangible, the intangible, I suppose. And that's the journey you're on in this lifetime, is to move closer towards a balanced perspective. And in order to do that, you will have to release ties to what you know, to what you feel you know about the world, because no one really knows anything. We have a certain set of beliefs that we shape our reality around. And the great thing is you can very much change those beliefs and thereby change your reality. So step 1 is for sure to release old patterns of thinking that do not serve you. Release old soul contracts. There's lots of meditations that you can do that help with that. And also maybe if you're curious, consider past life regression meditations, because that might help you find a lot of catharsis. It does for me all the time. And next we have Imrama. Where are you being called to journey to? There's so much analogy here about taking a trip. You might find travel quite nourishing, part 3. You might find it quite helpful to, especially like travel by sea or spend some time around the ocean. Because that might really help you find emotional depth, emotional connection with the world around us. Water just has a way of bringing us into reality in a more flowy, gentle way. As I look at my clock right now, it's 23:23. So lots of repeating numbers, but consider taking a trip for sure, because it might enlighten you if it's a very long distance trip, in that if you're going to travel overseas and stuff, it might help you see how people on the other side of the world live their lives, how different it is and how similar it is to what you already know. Travel will always nourish your soul, and that is definitely going to speed up this evolution process for you. And when you're so far away from what you're familiar with, it is much easier to release things that do not align with your soul anymore. Like, the magic of travel is underrated. Well, not underrated, but no one really can put it into words. It is an experience that you have to feel firsthand. So I'm so excited for your journey, part 3, but I'm going to leave that reading there. So thank you so much for spending some time with me today and sharing your energy and letting me read for you. This was beautiful. And if you've been seeing 3s, don't freak out. It's all good. This is just the universe telling you, like, hey, we're here. You're doing this. It's so for real. But yeah, you guys, I really hope this reading brought you some support and clarity. If it did, please remember to give me a big thumbs up and comment below how this resonated for you. Subscribe to my channel for more readings. Thank you so much for being here. If you'd like, you can stick around to the outro just after this for another reading on my channel. And with all of that said, I will see you guys on the next one. Bye.